If you've seen my tutorial on how to use PSmove controllers for full body tracking, you'll know a few different versions of the controllers that are available. For instance, the PS3 and PS4 versions. Before uploading that video, I thought that those were the only versions, and that there was little to no difference between the two other than the updated hardware. But with the unexpectedly huge surge of new users, and a community being revived around the concept, I found myself to be misinformed on both of those points. This short video here will explain the differences between the three different types of PSmove controllers, surprisingly, which ones you should buy for use in VR, and why you should avoid the PS4 version. Let's start with the two different types of PS3 Move controllers. Physically, they share all the same hardware and sensors, but their firmware is slightly different. One version has the magnetometer enabled, while the other has it disabled. This seems to have caused some confusion among some of you trying to set it up, because the option to calibrate the magnetometer would still pop up in the PSmove service. It would just show an error saying magnetometer disabled, and not let you calibrate it. But the thing is, you can still use the controller just fine for full body, just skip calibrating the magnetometer like with the PS4 version. The reason for the disabling of some of the magnetometers in these controllers seems to have been because of Sony's decision to move away from using magnetometers in the newer version of the PSmove controllers for the PSVR. And so you'll find some PS3 Move controllers with all of the right hardware inside, just a software switch flipped off for the magnetometer. Unfortunately, I have no idea if there's a way to determine whether a PS3 Move controller has its magnetometer enabled or disabled, because the controllers I received from my friend's PSVR still had the magnetometer enabled, so it being with a PSVR is not a valid indicator. But if you do end up with some, and are so inclined, it is very possible that there might be a way for you to flash the firmware that re-enables the magnetometer back onto the controller yourself. Though I have no idea how to do that because I have not had the time to research it myself, so that might be some homework for you. Now, onto the dreaded PS4 version. The story with the PS4 version seems to be that it was a radical internal redesign of the PS3 version specifically for the PSVR in its later years, all the way down to the protocol level, with the only outward change being the update to a USB micro B charging port over the PS3 version's mini USB. This drastic change to how the insides work and a physical lack of a magnetometer makes for much poorer tracking and more headaches to solve because of the less polished support within the PSmove service compared to the PS3 version. The reason why the magnetometer is so important to the PSmove controller is because it corrected the dreaded yaw drift that many PSVR users might know all too well. Combined with the accelerometers, the gyroscope could provide one absolute point of reference downwards for the controller to orientate itself in roll and in pitch. What the magnetometer would do is provide that one other point of reference northwards, so the controller could determine its yaw axis with no drift. The problem with removing the magnetometer from that equation is that now the gyroscope would have to saddle the yaw correction while being in almost no position to do so. This obviously results in the controllers infamously drifting around their axis and requiring regular recentering. Obviously having the magnetometer disabled isn't optimal, but at least with the PS3 versions you have the glimmer of hope of being able to get it back potentially. PS4 controllers just don't have that, and with the much rougher implementation into the PSmove service, my advice would be to avoid them if you can. So, I hope what I've learned about the PSmove controllers through listening to all of you guys' comments has been helpful, and I hope to see you all again in some of my more regularly scheduled programming. Thanks for watching, my name's Kai, and I'll see you soon.